Oracle. What should they call her? What should they call her? Oracle. Hey, my loves. Just give me a second. I'm letting in TikTok. How is everybody? Hope everybody is well. I came on to have a chat. I know you guys know that there's a lot going on. And I feel like it's important. What's good, Nikki? Lady T or T Lady, Brenda. Hey. Everybody coming in. What's going on, people? I know that there's a lot going on. And I know that every minute it feels like there's some kind of breaking news, but there actually was. And what's good, Double D? What's good, Tawanda? And I felt like now is the time for us to hold space for these conversations. I know that a lot of people are concerned about what's going to happen towards the end of this week, beginning of next week, and as we should be. But, in those type of situations, communication can be interrupted. And so I feel like it's very important that we communicate about what is occurring and things that people might not know that's happening or that has transpired, because so many things are occurring, from minute to minute. What's good, Pata, right? And it's really hard to keep up with. What's good, Mary? What's good, everybody coming in, right? It's hard to keep up with. Okay, so everybody has been up in arms this weekend since the announcement, not only that they weren't going to bring Abrego back, right? But in addition to that, the announcement that basically through a hot mic, their real intention is to use this for the citizens here. And I feel like even if you have your own perspective about his particular situation, that shit should have gave you pause when you heard that. When you heard them say they would like to create 5 more facilities, right? So we really could just stop with the arguing amongst ourselves about whether or not this is done to solely what might be deemed as the undesirables that were not invited here. I got so much to say about this. But there's a whole other group of people that they treat as undesirables that they brought here. So it's very selective, the memory. And this term of homegrown was good, Divine Empress. This term of homegrown. And obviously, we need to use discernment in the language that we're going to use tonight if we want to be able to have these discussions as a collective. Right? Because that's how we stay abreast of things. Now, let me say that, I got a lot of new subscribers in the last couple of days. Okay. I want you to know that when I come on a live, that it is also live on YouTube. I am on YouTube by the same name. Should we have a conversation and there's something that you want to go back and look at, research, you can find it on YouTube. Okay. There's also, what's good, Tammy? Hey, sis. There's also, content that is not on TikTok because of the link. Okay, so I just want to make sure that you guys are aware that we use YouTube for longer content and as a library for what is happening on TikTok. Okay, so I wanted to start with that. I want to tell you also that on this device, I am monitoring a live speech that is to be given by the former old one, we'll say. Biden's coming through to make a speech about the attack on Social Security. So whatever you might feel about him, I'm interested to hear what he will say about the benefits for our seniors and disabled community. And that is something that you pay into. It is not free. It is not something that is given away. Okay, you pay into the system. All right. So I just wanted to start with that. But I don't know if you guys heard that that after the news of them saying that they weren't going to return this gentleman, they had to appear in court, right? Because after the decision from the Court of Nine, we're going to call them, after the decision from the Court of Nine to say that they needed to facilitate, was the word, facilitate his return, although they didn't sign it. We're going to talk about that next, right? Then that case would have gotten bumped down back to the original judge overseeing that decision. And she's playing no games with them. So basically, she feels like she's given a green light, and she has told them in no uncertain terms, she expects, a bevy of information. And she basically told them to clear their schedule, that they're to be, giving her what she wants, when she wants it, in regards, she wants the whole chain of his movement, I believe, and beyond that. Okay. So this is where, the FAFO portion comes in, and whether or not there's anything that can be done for this poor gentleman. Okay. Now, while we're watching that, I want to go back and say that this is an experiment, and it has been from the beginning. Okay. And it's about, the layers of society as they peel away things. Okay. So they start by targeting groups that they feel others don't like anyway. So that way, when they're going to do what they want to do, right, that nobody in the public will really respond, because they don't got no skin in the game and they don't care about those people anyway. Which is why some of the attacks were on LGBTQ, on people that they said were not from here. And not only were they not from here, but they were supposedly criminals and gang members. But come to find out that the majority of them, the only crime they committed was coming into the country. And some of them actually came into the country in an appropriate manner. Now, they're betting that the public is going to say, well, we don't want those unwanteds anyway. But I want to bring attention to the first term and the children that were separated and how we never found out where they were. Also, that many, if not all, countries of color were considered to be less desirable, let's say. And quite honestly, that was because they figured the public wouldn't stop. And then when they saw that that line wasn't crossed, then they said, okay, let's start, picking up people and kind of harassing them, and whether they are or they aren't a citizen, and we'll hold them for a bit, and step all over their constitutional rights, and then just let them go and see how they take that. And they did do that. And we had one American who was held for 10 hours, and they were born here, and they had proof on them, right? So all these things have been occurring, and they're hoping that for every line that they cross, that we will just say, well, that doesn't affect me. But where it changed, and where whether or not you felt like it was justified, or you felt like there was no reason for you to be concerned, right? That should have changed when you heard that hot mic. That should have been the point. When you heard the term homegrown. Because that can be anyone. Quite honestly, everyone should have been on the same accord back when they were talking about terminating birthright citizenship. Because the reality is we are all here on birthright citizenship. Even the Native Americans. So the irony to even say that is an absurdity. Okay, so here's something though. Did y'all hear about this? So word on the curb is that little birdies that are very wealthy, company owners that were affected by the trade situation were low-key running to their reporters, and telling them, like, you didn't hear it from me, but old boy is off his rocker. And we had that Signal situation where the guy had put a whole bunch of people, he put that one reporter in the conversation. Remember that? Right? But if you weren't following the story so closely, you might not have noticed that they also found in that same guy's phone, they found a Venmo account with a bunch of reporters in there. So, there's always leaks coming out, and it's looking like it could possibly be him. Then there's others, like I said, that are company heads that are basically telling investigators, reporters, like, hey, something's not right. Right? We had what appears to be a polished, let's call it polished. What's good, April? Let's call it a polished medical report done on Frumpy. Okay. And there's also reports of 2 blood medications or high blood pressure medications on that list that would normally indicate that the first one isn't working. So there's a lot going on. Okay. There's a lot going on. To everybody coming into the chat, hi guys. And I feel like, look, shall we listen in? What do you guys think? Should we listen in? We have Biden here. I think that, as a whole, we've been waiting around for somebody to save us. And I feel like what was so upsetting about the situation that happened over the weekend was, and then him, in that hot mic yesterday, was realizing that we're kind of out here on our own.
As United States Senator 400 years ago.
I feel like we definitely are going to have to make some hard decisions about how we can best be suited to deal with this situation, but beyond just dealing with it, like the mental health. So for you guys that are just starting to follow me, that is what I do, not the mental health part, but the balancing of, our experiences. I'm a life coach, amongst other things, right? And this is why we have the coffee corner to begin with, to just deal with what seems to be an onslaught of attacks. Okay? So, I don't know how you guys are coping. How are you feeling? Where are you watching from? Let's have a dialogue. I feel like this is a very challenging situation. We have China coming at, in resistance, right? And, I had done a reading about 4 or 5 months ago. You are so angry, right? I had done a reading about 4 or 5 months ago, and I kept saying that we were going to be surprised with who came to save us. Mississippi Gulf Coast. There you go. Right? So we were going to be surprised, right? And I'm not saying that China is saving us, right? But I want you to consider something. We had, what's good, TT? We had, what's good, Taurus Love? The migration to Red Note, right? We had the communication between the people of China and America kind of establishing a relationship. And then we had this situation with the tariffs that really exacerbated the relationship between the two countries, but has, in China's response, has given us a new perspective, hangman energy, right? A new perspective to what it is that we've been experiencing here, and how diabolical okay, the method of for better terms, the method of capitalism and how it is used to extract from us here in this system, right? And I'm not saying that any system has it 100% figured out. But I think that part of the allure of what we as citizens here have believed about our own system and why we not only defended it, abided by it, and allowed ourselves to be extracted from for the purposes of thinking that we were in some way set apart, and we were never set apart. The only thing that was set apart was that we didn't have a clear understanding of the methods that were used not only to control us and not only to extract from us, but then also to use us as a method against people in other places. I challenge you, in light of everything that we've seen, like for humanity's sake, like real talk, I challenge you to spend some time this week thinking about the complex that we have here about thinking that this system is superior. And in reality, we're paying out our nose for healthcare. We're paying out our nose for a luxury bag. We're paying out our nose for a car. We're paying out our nose for insurance. We're paying out our nose for rent, for food, the list is crazy. And that's not even talking about the level of taxation. And that's not even talking about the level of taxation. Okay? I think that it's really time that we examine that while we defend something, that we are defending that which is oppressing us. Right? And what's good, Rose? Yes, please do like, share, and subscribe, guys. I always forget because I get right into the message and I forget to mention that, right? But it's really listen, it goes so far. I want y'all to listen. We're gonna talk about some things, and I ain't gonna hold y'all all night. But I do want you to think about something. Here they have a thing about singling out groups and making it very divisive so that there's no unity. Right? And I say to you that it's even within, so it could be as a whole with all people of color and then individual groups of color, and then it goes down to smaller microcosms, right? In the Caribbean, you have similar situations. And genetically, we are arguing, we're splitting hairs, if not DNA, if not chromosomes, or right. We need to stop because while we are distracted by these outward things, they are using that distraction to abuse a group at a time. I want to say something. I have to say this in code. Please pay attention to what I'm about to say. There's an app where you can visually see just about any location. I'm sure you guys are aware of that, right? Where you can put in the location of something and get an aerial view of that. Well, there are some that are saying that in that aerial view of the facility where this gentleman is being held, that there are some images in the back that should be concerning to every American here, especially in light of the fact that what they keep discussing is how much they would like to send Americans to facilities like this. The people are saying that in those images, you can see what appears to be some kind of pile. Some kind of pile behind the facility. Okay? Behind the facility. All right. So, and they're even going so far as to say that the soil surrounding the mound appears to be of a different color. So there could be some, you haven't seen me in forever, which please do follow, my love. Okay. What's good, Brianna? Right. So, basically, what could be saturating those mounds in the back? You work now. Yes. Well, I'm happy for you, my love. Right. And if you follow me on YouTube, you'll find all the lives there recorded. Okay. But listen. Oh, I missed you as well. Just so you guys understand, there's a lot that is not being communicated because when these kinds of systems come in, the first thing they do is try to limit the ability for people to know. You know what I'm going to do, guys? I think I know there's not that many people in here right now, but I want to share with you all my secondary page. Okay? I'm going to try to put it in the chat because you never know when this could be problematic, right? So give me a second. Let me get into the live and then I will sign in. Okay, I just commented, okay, spiritually strapped. Okay, I just commented, okay, spiritually strapped. Please follow that page, guys. I need you to run it up. We're at about 300 over there. And I need that page to hit 1,000 so that we can get, that page is going to be necessary. Okay, why is it not showing it? There we go. There it is. Okay. So please do follow that page. That would be most helpful for me. And we need a second because you know that they be like hiding people in the back. Okay. So please help me to grow that account. That would be great. All right, guys. I want to talk about methods for balance. Okay. What page is it? Okay. So on TikTok, you know me as Lovely Soul Empress, but I also have a page there called, I'm gonna write it in YouTube's chat as well. You know I need my damn glasses. Why I always try to do this shit without my glasses on? I don't know. Let me make sure that I'm writing it correctly. Yeah. Okay. So that's the other name you can find me on TikTok with. Okay. And if we can get that channel to be up to 1,000, like that would be what I really need right now. Just because I know that I know that they have a tendency to try to try to push people to the back. Okay, so not only did this judge today say they got 2 weeks to make it happen, Captain. Okay, this is gonna push in the bush, right? This is gonna push the constitutional crisis. Thank you, my love. Okay, now important, and I said to you guys in the beginning, right, that we were going to come back and talk about, you know, the Committee of 9, right? And how they made a unanimous ruling in favor of bringing him back, but they didn't sign it. Now, why didn't they sign it? Let's talk about that. They're in fear. Why are they in fear? Because did you not notice that, was it yesterday, the day before, the governor's mansion of PA got barbecued, for a better word? Okay, because I want to make sure that, you know, right? You get what I'm saying? So they've already, you know, you had the situation that happened to Nancy Pelosi's husband, right? We had some attempts already done. Thank you guys for all the love. I greatly appreciate you, right? So we had all of that going on, right? Oh, thank you, my love. Listen, we could talk about this, but I'll do that towards the end. They're afraid. They're afraid. And I can feel, those of you that know, right? I can feel their fear. Okay, 555 here. Yeah, I can feel their fear. All right. And I feel like they will stand up. But it's going to be kind of forced. And I feel like there's a lot of them, not just them 9, right, who want to see more action captain, right? So that they don't feel so afraid. The problem is that we know that what he wants to do is take that action and use that to consolidate power. At which point, then we're all put in a situation. Okay, it seems as though there's a lot of distractions over there trying to stop you from speaking. Possibly. But I feel like we have to push through the fog of it. I don't know if you guys noticed, but AOC and Bernie Sanders are pulling huge crowds. I don't think that Bernie wants to run. I think he's baptizing her. I think he's taking her around the country to introduce who he believes is closest to his ideology. I think that we have had a problem with choosing a voice because we argue about what that voice or that face should look like or where the voice should be coming from. And because we have that disagreement continuously, we never get beyond it. We never get beyond it. And they've been using that against us. And we look for reasons to opt out. And I had, for those of you that follow me, I have been saying it for the longest time. The argument about abstaining to vote, those same people are equally responsible to the red hatters. I said it. Equally responsible. I know that might not be something that people want to hear, but it's true. Right? And so, we have to think about whether this internal arguing is assisting us and whether we're ready now. I want y'all, here's a question for y'all. I want you to go back to October, September, and what you thought were your priorities and your goals, and ask yourself if those same things are now important. Because I do think that the part of the reason why we had to experience this was solely so that we can see that even in our awakening, we were distracted because this system encourages keeping up with the Joneses and not self-development. Shit, it doesn't even promote familial development. Right? And this, I think, has to be the new focus. Okay? It has to be the new focus about what it is that we Listen, a dog has 4 legs, but he can only walk down one road at a time. So you can't in one breath say you want to progress and then not show up for yourself in a way that advocates for that outcome. That's it in a nutshell, right? So I'm put it to you in another way for my spiritual baddies, okay? Manifestation without action is just a wish. Manifestation without action is just a wish. You might as well just be blowing out the birthday wish. Right? So it's kind of the same thing. This is the situation we're in. Now, I'm not saying that you have to be, Rambo or anything like that. Right? But if there's anything that we've learned through this whole time, is that energy is contagious, just like red hat is contagious, and we can make love and humanity and the desire to uphold that which we value, we can make that contagious too if we decide that we no longer want to participate energetically in the system that not only is choking us out, but it's extracting from us every second of every minute of every hour of every day. As I said, your health insurance, your car insurance, your apartment, your food, mortgage, gas, the cost of living versus what you're making, and then the audacity of the prices of the merchandise that we're getting charged here while they outsource the jobs that they won't pay you for, so they can get it cheaper and yet more. Okay, when I was younger, I used to work for a buyer in a clothing store. I used to go with her to Fashion Week and do buying with her, right? And let me tell you, when you would get it from the wholesaler, I'm giving you a game right now. When you would get it from the wholesaler, right? Legitly, you're supposed to upcharge 4 times. Okay. So if you cut out the middleman and you still found it directly from the manufacturer, you could still charge the 4 times and you get the profit. They were not satisfied with that. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. So they took it to another country where the markup could become something like 100%. So they've taken the ability for you to earn that money. Then they upcharge you 100% on that. And what makes it valuable at that rate is that it's out of reach of most people. The whole system's built on that. The whole system's built on that. You don't think it's odd that there are certain people that have had diseases that used to take people clear on out, and they're still with us before the masses had opportunities for that? Do you remember not too long ago, a few years ago, I wish I knew the exact year, the guy who was a billionaire who bought up, right? What was it? Insulin, the code for insulin, and then was charging like ridiculous prices. And he also happened to be the same millionaire who bought up like the last Wu-Tang album so no one would ever have it. Right? It's that there's not enough money for some of these individuals. Okay, and they have gone around the world mistreating not only people but the planet. And if you're a spiritual baddie, that has to be problematic for you. You should be feeling connected to Mother Gaia. I don't know, guys. I feel like, right, Tammy? Yes, right? So they're extracting from her. They got kids in caves pulling out cobalt so you can have an iPhone that they're going to charge you 8 times for. And that wasn't enough. But then old boy decided that he wanted to throw a tariff on it because he wants to get into a pissing match. And he did the EpiPen too. You see that? Listen. And it's coming from so many places and so many angles that you can't even keep up with the level of exploitation that is happening to us right now. So even if you could get past all that other shit, I don't know, gang. You know? I'm gonna open it. I don't know if anybody wants to come up, or if you do want to come up. Look at that. Look what Eve says. Went to Mexico and paid $3.50 to see a doctor and $5 for medication. It's insanity. I don't know if I know how to do this. I'll tell you what, if you want to come up and talk about it, you can. You can just send an invite. I don't know what the hell I'm doing there. But yeah. Meanwhile, my copay here is $50 each visit. You better say it. You better say it. Okay? It's outlandish. The rent, the fact that after the bubble, and there was a lot of people bought houses, and then they realized, like, wait a minute, they're going to buy houses. That's going to lift them out of the middle of poverty, because real estate is one of the best ways to advance yourself financially. Safe investment, right? So what did they do? They started buying up all the homes. That's why the homes are so expensive. Not because there aren't homes, but because they bought them all up so that you have to rent from them. Right? That happened before. That happened before. But they think that you won't know that, because who's actually reading history books that, you know, in these times of you know, kingdoms, speaking of kings, right? In these kingdoms, they would have lords that would rule over smaller areas, right? And that lord would have a vast area that was considered his responsibility. And then he would have people that he would allow them to have like portions of land on the, and it wasn't for them to have, but basically they would get free room and board and maybe a little bit of extra, right? And they would be groundskeepers, this, that, and the other. And that would afford them to have a reasonable life. So in some ways, very close to indentured servitude. This whole shit from the beginning has been on a system of extraction that has to do with getting as much free labor as they can. It don't they got a favorite group. Let's keep it a buck. They got a favorite group that they would like to do that work. Okay? I would go so far as to say they got two favorite groups that they like to have this labor done because they feel like these two particular groups are beneath them. And so when they can't get them to do it here, they go around the world looking for, yep, you better say it, Eve. They go around from place to place looking for people that have the complexion. And then those people are used in the same manner. The difference now is that we have the internet and we are now being made aware that this is a straight hostile takeover of humanity. Okay? And that your true purpose was not to do that. Your true purpose was to be able to till the earth in communication with the Divine Mother for that which would bring you sustenance and your family and live within the what we needed and maybe a little extra. Not for 1% to use humanity in a way that restricts them from the true essence. And that is why you see so much mental health, why you see so many people in unhealthy conditions and I fear that we will see that more, and that we will see people behave in ways that show the level of depravity that some people have, and also the level of trauma that others are carrying. Okay? I think that the conversation around the two gentlemen are going to continue. And I feel like we shouldn't totally, I know they've said no, but I don't think we should totally count out his return. I know that people are assuming that he's already no longer with us. I do not feel that. Okay? I just feel like there is a timeline where he can be returned, but it will not be by those in power now. And so, depending on how long this continues, and depending on how I'm gonna explain something. for those people, yeah, he's definitely going to have trauma for the rest of his life. I want you to think about something legitly. I'm going to talk to my brown and I'm going to talk to my people of color for a minute. If you personally was in that El Salvadorian president's position, knowing that Frumpy has a tendency to throw people under the bus on a regular basis, and he already feels in many ways by conversations he has had about all Black and brown nations, how he already feels, and how if some situation goes wrong, how that could backfire on him. Right? Now think about if that were you, and think about knowing that Frumpy is so irrational that at any moment there could be a change in direction because of a removal or something. And then that the next administration would be like, we want to see the truth about what you were doing. Now you got a problem. Because I don't know if dude has thought about that. Right now he has, 200 or 300. He just told him to build 5 more. He feels that with straight up Americans and this administration gets turned over, what do you think is going to happen? How quickly do you think they will be sending in a team? And listen, this is what I do for a living, is read people. That man was first a street pharmacist, okay? That's where he got his elbow grease. Okay? That's where he got his ruthlessness from, Spirit said. Okay? All right? He knows that he would much better. Right now, he's taking advantage of a situation, but he also knows that if that alligator turns its head, that it will swallow him whole and all his power with him. And I don't think that man is that slow. He might have told him that he's no longer here. But I bet you money that he got him somewhere stashed on the off chance that they blow down on his ass for real. Okay? Because right now it's all good in the neighborhood until it ain't. Okay? And it would be in his advantage. And I'm sure the other one told him, make sure he's not around. Because, they tell no tales, right? But he probably said, yeah, he's already not with us, and put him in a room because he would be dumb if he didn't. He doesn't strike me. He strikes me as the type of person that got to where he is because he keeps a backup plan. What's good, Miss Lotus Wisdom? I also feel like Right now, he's more concerned with a staying in a group of dictators because he feels that gives him cover. But he knows that he's the lowest on the totem pole and that they would turn on him first. So he's got a backup plan. I also feel like there's going to be a few people stepping away from support by the end of this week. It will be the beginnings of cracks. If there are, for those of you that are remote workers, and online things like that, if it is possible to find maybe even side gigs that pay you in another currency, that might be good. That might be something to consider. And maybe don't be so quick to convert. Yeah, and get off the bank system, lock into credit unions, right? All little things like that. Shore up things, pay attention. Because I do not, and I have said this several times. Thank you, April. I have said this several times. I do not believe that the system is going to be remade. Greetings, my love. The system will be remade in a different way. Okay, but before that, the calamity of it all, right? The calamity of it all. And I feel like there's a window in time in between where we're kind of left to our own devices, and that's what we need to concern ourselves with. That and the creature comforts that we have been used to. I feel like Gen X is in a good position to handle that. Maybe some of the, millennials closest to, like my children, my oldest children, they would fare pretty decently because, they didn't really get cell phones till they were like 14 or 15. And, we had hardships when they were growing up, so they would know what it is to have to make do. But I fear for some of the younger generations, like, Gen Z and that. Like my youngest son, right? He would be at his wit's end. Okay? Because that has not been his reality. Okay, it's not has been his reality. And my advice is, if you can, okay, if you can, try to get any medicine that you must have, that you must take daily, that you cannot go without. Try to see if you can get a 30-day supply of that and put it up. Okay? Make copies of your paperwork, birth certificates, and things like that. Write down important phone numbers that you would need in case of an emergency or in case devices don't turn on the way they should. I always, and my group knows, okay, I have a Patreon group where they have basically 24-hour access to me. You need a cell phone, a solar powered cell phone charger, a crank up radio, right? And paperwork for everybody, right? Right now, you may be hoping for certain people that you may, that you love, that are family members. You did everything that I suggested a while back when I first mentioned it. Yep. It's scary times. Hell yeah. What's good, shamanic Arawak priestess? Yes, it is very scary times. And I have been advising, it's crazy because I have been telling them this for over almost 2 years. That spirit kept telling me that we had to have go bags, that we had to have things to be prepared. And I want to say that that being spiritual is being part of the resistance. It is. It is revolutionary work. It is. Okay. And I also want to say that that what you're feeling right now, your grief is sacred. Like, for real. It always has been. And for some of us that we recall lifetimes, this is not our first go around. I actually had a dream about that last night. That we keep doing that. And I did a live on Patreon earlier about that very subject, about the fact that even the other versions of ourselves from other timelines that we view as incarnations, but are in many ways are just dimensional, and that time is not linear but more congruent, right? That we're presently fighting this across timelines and dimensions. Like, that is why some of us are feeling so activated, so so intensely triggered, because it is a remembrance in our DNA to a battle that we keep revisiting. And it's really challenging. And for the spiritists, I'm interested, shamanic Arawak priestess, like, I've been waking up crying some days. I wake up in the middle of the night. I feel very much, my ancestors and my spirit guides on top of me. And I think that we need ways to encourage not only unity, but also leveling out of our nervous systems so that we can respond spiritually first, then physically. I think that's why the ancestors were telling so many of us, like, have a seat, take a time out, really check in with how you feel. What are your ancestors saying? It's not time right now. Process. Think of the whole, right? But I think that the conversation that we saw happen in the office yesterday, where they said with their chest out that they want to build more facilities for Americans, now it's time for us to look at the situation differently. Me too. I admitted to my subscribers I went into mourning period. I am feeling better now, but we need to unite spiritualists who have been believe in democracy. Yes, spiritual first, then physical. Absolutely. And listen, I say this because right now I'm on live on both platforms. I'm on TikTok and on YouTube. All, listen, big, small, all spiritists. I'm seriously open to having conversations. You want to do group things. Listen, I'm for it. I'm for it. I think it's what's needed. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I would love that. I would love that shamanic Arawak priestess. You know that you and I, we both share the same heritage, Puerto Rican and Haitian. So we also have that unique connection. And we do need each other now, and we need to set up support groups for our communities, right? And let me just say this. Se me paran los pelos. There's family members right now that you can't help because they've been brainwashed, they're not awake, whatever is going on with them. Okay? Put a glass of water out for them, right? Talk to your ancestors or whatever, but do not try to jump through hoops right now. Conserve your energy for this massive undertaking that we are really taking across timelines right now. Many of us that have been in the shadows of this industry for, I'm sure, like shamanic Arawak priestess, both of us probably have over 20 years individually in this industry, right? But there was something that happened around 2020, a little bit before, that has made it almost like imperative. I can't even front. I'm almost annoyed when people want to know about like love life and stuff like that, because Spirit didn't send me out here for that. Did not. Okay. I'm here to help the collective deal with the shadow work and the decolonization and the deprogramming, and to remember how to protect ourselves and how to traverse, transmute what we're going through right now. Like, real talk. If y'all saw my check from either one of these platforms, you would know that it has to be a labor of love. Okay? Thank you, Eve. You would have to know that it is a labor of love. Okay? I'm dead ass. And right now, people who are getting up on these platforms, big or small, like Shamanic Arawak Priestess, myself, right? That are out here saying it with our chests, that this is revolutionary work. You think that we're not in the fray, in the line of fire? We have been in many other ways, yes, but this is different. It's very different. It's really time. Let me tell you, I had a little video earlier that, was getting a little traction. It was talking about what was going on. And I noticed that after it hit a certain point and it was getting like certain traction, that the opposition came in. And the opposition was coming in talking about, why are you talking about this? Why you want to, you're stirring the pot. No. You want us to be in the shadows. You want us to not have the important conversations because, it puts the weight back on those who do and say nothing. Okay, yes, we get the shadow ban and the notice and the views go down and they're trying to bury us, sis. You absolutely know it. Right? So that's the thing. Right? Is how y'all can help us is to support us. Support us. Follow my sister, Shamanic Arawak Priestess, right? Assist us to get the message out. We may all have like slightly different lanes, but the assignment is the same. I keep telling y'all, we're lighthouses. You're like a light on the porch. That's why your whole life you have so much drama and resentment and that. Okay, because you're always going to be seen first in the room, whether you like it or not. And the reason for that is for this time, because whether you recognize it or not, the fact that you're even in this time is because you are the best and the brightest and needed. Exactly. We need the support. It's hard for the real spiritualists like us. You better say it, girl. You ain't never lie, okay? Because you got 100 of them out here giving you a one card bullshit. There's one that the bone, man, don't even get me started. Don't even get me started. No matter how the bones land, the answer's the same. Okay. The point is, we fighting. Some of us is fighting in different ways energetically. We have lanes, right? We need everybody to come aboard. Take on the assignment. I just said earlier today, in other time periods, I want y'all to think about this. This is probably a specific reason, Shamanic Arawak Priestess, that you're in here. Check this message I got earlier. When you look at Atlantis, they had crystals. When you look at the pyramid, the Egyptians or the pyramids, and even, the indigenous, they had pyramids. There were pyramids all over the world, right? So there was a time period where they had the pyramids and they used that as a tool, right? And the crystals as a tool, right? Well, this is the timeline where you don't need the tools. You don't need the tools. You know what you need? You need to remember. You need to remember what is programmed in your DNA. And this shit will come to an end. But the thing is that we can't remember. And all we feel is the fear. And that's why we're always looking for something outside of us, right? Because we remember when we needed something outside of us. And that's why we're supposed to be remembering our telepathic power, our telepathic connection to the plants, to the earth, to the trees, to the birds. but we wake up and we give our energy to the same system that keeps oppressing us and extracting from us and breaking us down, because we still think that we need something outside of us. Yes, we get shadow banned. Yeah, exactly. We need the support. Yep. Right. So it's really serious, guys. And honestly, I keep saying that this situation can only end in a certain amount of ways. And we're on a fast track. I really don't know if this situation goes past the summer. I keep getting that it's a shorter period of time, but it's the thing of how much will be done in that period. And will it be able to be revocable? You're welcome. Thank you for the message. We need to hear this. No, it's true. Listen, they told me that, and I had some wild dreams yesterday. And I have a pact with my spirits, like, to only tell me stuff like right before I'm gonna wake up, because if not, it would be crazy, right? I never get any sleep, right? So, and they were giving me that like right beforehand, and about not trying to save those that are still asleep, even if they're family members. There's going to be time for that. Right now, it's time to shore up our systems, shore up how we're going to move, shore up the groups that we do have, shore up the connections, shore up those things. Okay? I'm constantly talking to you guys about how to protect yourselves. I just did a big protection thing for my Patreon this weekend. Like telling them, like, we all did a ritual for the full moon to use that collective energy. Okay? Listen, before we end this, because we've been here for a while, I want to talk about a couple of last things that I want you to pay attention to. What's good, Scorpio T? As of April 17th, which is only a couple of days away, right? Because remember, Mars was in retrograde and he went from Leo into Cancer. Doesn't like being there. He's a little muted, but he still acts up, right? Now he's already out of the retrograde, but he's making his way back, and he has been for a couple of weeks now. He's about to hit on April 17th back into Leo, which will put him opposing Pluto. Okay, in Aquarius, a face off, in two fixed signs. If you want to know what that energy was like, remember New Year's? That's when they were faced off. And they have a hard square to Uranus right now. So this weekend is like the beginning of the end. The beginning of the collective deciding that nobody's coming and that they have to, show up for themselves in some energetic way that is calling their power back. Okay, so from this week all the way to the end of May, heads on a swivel. Okay, and Uranus will be moving into Gemini. There's a grand finale, guys. Okay? Be prepared. Write down phone numbers. Talk to people. Make connections. I'm definitely going to reach out, Shamanic Arawak. I don't have the same phone, so I might have to see if I still have the number. If not, and you still have it, hit me, right? But this is quite serious. I'm going to try to come on more often so that we can try to use the collective energy with like-minded people as a space for healing. Okay, guys? All right, my loves. I know probably I'm holding y'all from your dinner and things like that. But I've been getting a lot of messages. And remember, follow me both on TikTok and YouTube. We never know what's going on. Okay? And hold your head up. And please try to spend at least 5 minutes a day outside in nature. Put your hand on a tree, man. Listen, if you can't do that and it's still cold where you are, get a plant and love that plant like it is your ancestors. Okay? Yes, we need to unite for our community. You are such a... You too, my love, okay? We definitely need to hook up, okay? Please, guys, I'm always talking to you guys about living altars. Okay? Get a plant. Okay? Get a plant and love that plant. And talk to it. And sit with it. And let it know your hopes and your fears. I promise you that the Divine Mother is listening. Okay? So please, I'll be back soon, guys. All right? I'm wishing you all light and love and blessings on blessings. Bye. Bye, guys. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I know this is not my regular time. And yes, Shamanic Arawak Priestess, we definitely have to link up.